Hello YouTube. This video is for deep divers and open-minded people with open hearts only. If your mind is not open, you will not be able to digest the information. First, I want to let you know I am an artist and I'm a healer. When you watch my videos, you probably notice it's a lot of colors and it's a lot of pictures. I do that on purpose because I infuse loving light and energy in all my videos to try to help you and to assist you in any way I can. Let me start off by saying we are very complex people. In order for us to be whole and real and honest with ourselves, we have to discuss and discover our perversity and our darkness. Some people have mentioned that my videos are dark and they see darkness in them, and they question why I always add falling angels. The truth of the matter is we're all fallen angels. We have light and we have dark in ourselves. Keep in mind, Lucifer, who is dark, also was the bearer of the light. We like to repress the darkness. Sometimes we try to be one-sided. You don't get enlightened by imagining figures of light. Essentially, the way to enlightenment is to go back out through the darkness. You don't get to the point where you even come to realize what happiness is. That is something eternal, not something that comes from the outside, until you go through a period of darkness. And sometimes this manifests as darkness of the soul, dark night of the soul. Satan in Hebrew actually means the adversary. It's only used about 4 times in the Old Testament to mean an actual being with dark purposes. All of the darkness, all of the difficulties of our life are testing by the adversary. Testing by that part of the universe that wants us to wake up and become self-aware. This may not be evil in any sense, but it certainly makes us stop and ask the big questions. Who am I? Why am I here? What is my purpose? Angel of Darkness, the story of Satan's fall. Just as there are many stories of creation, the way that God created the earth, there are also many stories of Satan's fall from the light. There are maybe 7 different stories, in fact, of how Satan fell. My sense is that they're all great metaphors for ourselves. How do we fall into darkness? We all do have that higher self, that core self. When we're in that space, we feel totally connected with the moment. We're so wise, we're so loving, and our hearts are compassionate. But the fact is that most of us are not in that part of ourselves very often. We tend to spend most of our lives behind various masks that we learn to put on. Upanishads, all wisdom traditions of the East say that within each one of us there is a core self or a higher self. And this self is in fact birthless and deathless. And regardless of what happens to us in our lives, it can never be sullied. We forget who we are. We lose our authenticity. We fall from the grace of our own brightness into some far more limited version of who we really are. So each one of us undergoes a personal kind of fall, if you will, into darkness. In all of our lives, we're tempted by our own darkness. We're tempted because it's familiar, because it's comfortable. It's hard to move into the light. It's hard to heal because to do that, old pain comes up. You have to reevaluate your beliefs, reevaluate your life. And that is one of the old roles of Satan. Satan is the tester of souls. So, if Satan is the darkness within ourselves, it's also part of our salvation. Red Fox said, all these health food nuts are sure gonna feel foolish when they're laying there in the hospital dying of nothing. And the fact is, all of us are going to die. When we die, we think of it as a life that was whole, that the circle of life must have been complete. We need to stop judging a life well lived as a life that goes on for a certain number of years. I've always felt that some people's lives are complete in 2 months, and some people's lives are complete in 100 years. It's not about your physical health. It's about how you've lived your life, whether you've been able to open your heart, whether you've been able to have a sense that your life has had a purpose. And if you've had the courage to live your purpose, that is really what healing is all about. Heal the soul. To live your particular shade, the first thing you can do is give up clinical language that labels and categorizes. You have to be prepared for your dark night of the soul, which is both your pain and your deliverance. It is the great obstacle to getting on with life, and yet it is the best means of entry into what faith has in store for you. Your dark night is preparing you to be yourself. Metamorphosis. The metamorphosis of self never ends, and we need effective means to get through each phase successfully. A society that has lost its soul looks for security in the future and is willing to deny the reality of the present. We are often afraid of the dark because it is so alive. Dark angel, consciousness that works in the darkness because it is at home there. You are not a guest in the underworld, you're a citizen there. Let that sink in. Family. You have to make your own world instead of succumbing to the one that presses on you. You have to turn the tables on what appears to be fate or the full weight of society. Against the greatest odds, you have to keep your wits about you and refuse to surrender to anyone or anything less than divine. You have to be faithful to the mystery taking place in your heart rather than to any idea or system that would try with the best of motives to disempower you and make you theirs. You have to be faithful to the mystery taking place in your heart. Know that you are both intelligent and stupid, often in the same moment. Admit to what you desire and what you fear. If you did little more than these two things, you will be filled with irony and your actions will be infinitely more trustworthy for their honesty. It's all right to have grand and eccentric longings. Only by embracing these two emotional pillars will you glimpse the nature of your soul, which is the ground of your existence. The soul is not the ego, the soul is made up of virtue. The ego craves acting out and it aims at being either singularly virtuous or vicious. It doesn't enjoy complexity, and that is why it's not a good base for companionship and community. Discover your perversity and dark inclinations. You are a complex person, and that life itself can't easily be divided into good and evil. Maybe you stop identifying with the good and own up to your own tendencies towards the bad. You give up your innocence and take some authority in and from your underworld. You finally discover that it's not good to spend your life trying to be good and aligning yourself with the virtuous people of the world. It might be better to avoid that divided self altogether and instead simply live with compassion for yourself and others. You are not perfect and you never will be. Identifying with virtue only hides your tendencies to evil. It doesn't get rid of them. It makes it more difficult for you to see your own immortality. And if you can't see it, you can't deal with it. You cannot be good by thinking of yourself as good. You have to sink into the complexities and go down far enough into life that you realize that it's not even good to be good. To do what other people may judge as bad may be the best you can do for now. Certainly, you have to admit to your moral ignorance in many matters. We are all biased. We believe and advocate different things, exercising freedom of thought, which is precious, right? Where does this cross the line, though? When our choices harm others, or we are derogatory about other points of view? Tolerance, consensus, collaboration equals mutual respect, not superiority, disdain, or fear. When you're on the verge of achieving an awakened mind, the forces of negativity rush in as if to prevent its accomplishment. When we make a bid for freedom, bliss, or enlightenment, some out there seems to come forth and challenges us and works to stop us. When this happens, we usually believe that we must be doing something wrong. So often we are so close to achieving our goal, we give up. You become brother and sister to all creatures, the plant spirits, the fire, the wind, and the storm. You try to become one with spirit. You try to manage the fire in your belly, the dragon fire. You harness the wind beneath your wings, and you endure the storms of life. The whole purpose is to merge with the spirit of the planet and become one with the allness of the infinite creation. Ladies, embrace the dragon in you. Dragons possess great mastery over fire and light. Dragons awaken, emerge, and reveal. Dragons are considered the wayshowers, illuminating the path. Dragons are masters of waveness, so they can embody whatever reality or realm they wish to be in. Keepers of treasures surf the huge wave of transformation. The Dalai Lama said that emptiness is the ultimate expression of reality. Ironically, when I am empty, I lack nothing. When I am full, I always seem to want more. The secret of happiness, you see, is not found in seeking more, but in developing the capacity to enjoy less. Socrates. Lessons of the Seven Dragons: mental congruence, overwhelm, decision, procrastination, intention, deficit, resistance, financial, unworthiness. Art of being real. It means avoiding the temptation to present a facade or hide behind a false mask or professionalism or an attitude of superiority. It's certainly not simple to achieve such a reality. Being genuine involves the often challenging task of becoming fully acquainted with the flow of experiencing that's going on within oneself. When we master the dragons in our mind, we acknowledge our internal power. Limitless Mind addresses the epidemic of information overload, attention deficit, and addictions that cause us to feel unsuccessful, overwhelmed, and hopeless. Eradicate mental patterns that are disruptive to our life's success. Self mastery enables us to open up to the world of abundance. Special shout out to my spirit guides for your patience with me. This has been a long journey and we're still going. Archangel Michael, the universe, Father Abbot, you breathe life back into me every day. You do not allow me to quit. You do not allow me to have excuses. I'm forever grateful for your presence, for your support, for your love, and I humbly bow. To all my faithful subscribers, my deep divers, deep thinkers, I just want to say to you to have someone understand your mind is a different type of intimacy. It's very special. And for the ones who really take the time out to digest my videos, thank you, thank you, thank you. My goals for self-improvement. I take personal responsibility over blame, conflict resolution over revenge, creative problem solving over dictatorial threats or demands. Like a baby learning to crawl, then stand, then walk, begin to practice and teach a way of life, love, and forgiveness. Make a path to the spirit within God's light is moving into this world through an unbroken chain of beings who form a bridge between the human and spiritual realms. Angels and ascended masters may provide assistance, but it is up to you and I to carry the banner to the mountaintop.